Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we are going to be looking at how we can combine the mid function and find function to create a great dynamic formula for extracting text from within an existing string of text. For each of these functions we have addressed and looked at them in detail in separate videos, and those links should be appearing on the screen now. If you haven't already checked those out, please do. It's a great way to make sure you've got that full understanding of how each function works independently or on its own. Or if not, just reference back to them if needs be, and they'll give you a good sort of nudge or memory if needed. But in this video we'll try and step through how the two work together. So what we've done on this slide, so we'd always start when we look at functions on a slide similar to this. This is taken from the mid function, but we've also just added on to this how the find function is going to supplement this this function of mid. So the purpose of combining the two together is to return text from inside a string using find to determine the start number. So as we know with the mid function, there are these three inputs. So we've got text, which is the text from which we want to extract characters. Or number one being the cell reference, what contains the string we want to extract from. Number two is the number or the start number, so this is where we want to start extracting from, and the third is then how many characters do we wish to extract from that starting position. So the main difference what we have here is for this second input of the mid function, rather than inputting a static number to represent a position, we're then going to enter our find function here into number 2. And then the purpose of adding the find function into number 2 is because it's then going to look in the text string and get the location of text from the text string in text, so the white text at the end here being point number 1. So in short, what it's going to do is the find function will search for our desired text in the text string, return to us the position in which it starts, and then that's the dynamic start number we have in our mid function. So hopefully that's all makes sense and we haven't caused any confusion. Obviously you can come back to this slide if it needs a jog and it has been beneficial to you. Else what we'll be doing now is jumping across to Excel, and we'll work through some examples to show you how this works and the benefits of using it. Okay, so we're now in Excel, and we've got this example here we're going to use to just demonstrate how the formula or combine the two functions works. So what we have is we've got our text here in column A. So this is a text string that contains a number of words, but obviously ultimately makes up to a string. And for each one we've got in column B, we can see the word that we wish to extract. And we've just gone for hat at the time being for each of these scenarios. So what we've done is broken out two columns, so columns C and D. Column C is just the find function on its own, and then column D is going to use the mid and the find together. And we just thought we'd do find separately just so you can see what that is doing on its own, so it might hopefully paint that bigger picture when we then look at the two together. So let's just do our find function on its own, and this will just show us again where the word hat is appearing in each of the text strings. And as you'll notice, each of the text strings is different, so the word hat is going to appear at different places. So what we can do is we do our find function and open brackets, and we want to find this text in column B. We want to search for it in the corresponding cell reference in column A, and we will start from position number 1 of that string, close brackets, and that's simply our formula. And hit enter, and there we go, eventually get there. And we can see that for this first one, hat is starting in position number 9, and we can count that by 3 letters in the word the fourth being the first space, another 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 being then the second space here, and then obviously the 9th character being where the letter H of hat begins. So we can see that it starts for position number 9. And if we just drag that formula down for each of those 3 examples, we can see again all the start positions of the word hat for the other 2 text strings and scenarios. So the benefit of doing this is in our mid function, if we were just wanting to, and this is a very basic example, we are wanting to extract the word hat from each one of these, we would, if we were to put static values in, obviously it wouldn't work because hat is position number 9, this first one, but it's actually 40 in the last one. So that's where using this find function alongside mid is really beneficial to make sure it's going to dynamically update depending on the content of our text in column A. So to add our mid function into here now, what we can do is start entering our function. So we're combining the two, but it is built upon that mid function. So the mid function is our main function as such. So we start typing mid and we open brackets. And another way to put it, I guess terminologically, is the find function is nested within the mid function. That's often how it's described, but again, that just came to mind, but you'll see as we go along how it works. So mid, so what we want to do is populate this. So our text, this first one on our prompt here, is obviously our text in column A. So this is the text that we want to look at. And this is now where we put in our find function. So we want to find where our start number should be. So what we can do is now enter. Obviously you could reference the value of what we pull in column C here, but we're better than that. We want to actually put the function together into one. So you can type in our find function and open brackets. And then what we need to do is we want to find text, so that is going to be the word of hat, what we have in column B2. We want to find that within the text string, what's in column A. And the last part of our prompt is start number, so we want to start from position number 1. So we can then close brackets. And then because obviously we're nesting this function, we then can't forget that even though we've ended that find function, we're still inputting for the mid function. So we can see on our prompt that having done that that second close bracket of the find function, we're still within the start number part of the function. So we now need to enter a comma to then move to the last part of the mid function, which is the number of characters. And we know that for our word of hat, the number of characters is 3. So we can just enter the number 3 and then close brackets. And that is our formula, or the two functions together, completed. And it seems to be a bit slow just going off this. But there you go. And we can then see that our extracted word is hat. As we drag that down, we can see that even though the position of hat is changing in each one of those, we can actually see that it's updated and we have extracted that correct word. So what we can do now is to take this one step further, because one of the questions could be, well, that's great, but we're still having to manually enter the number or how many characters we want to extract. So if we wanted to do, and in my example there, everything is all got, let's change the word to hats. So as we can see, hats. Perfect. So in this scenario, obviously we've got, and I'm building upon obviously what we had in there. So it's still going to find the word of hat because it's still present in our text string. It's just obviously the start of, it's not including the S. And if we want to extract our word hats now, and hit enter, and let's just drag this down. So but those are two updated. So obviously our formula hasn't kept up with that. It still tells us where the start position is, what's great because that's hats and the hats are still going to be in the same position. But obviously because we manually entered this number 3 of the values to extract, we can see that it's not going to ever expand to now show that we need to extract 4 characters because there are 4 characters in the word hats. So what we can do here, and we have previously done a video on this again, so once again, there should be a link on the screen referencing you to that video so you can see how it works. We want to look at it on its own, but it is a quite straightforward formula. Is we can now enter another function into here that will actually make this more dynamic for us still. So what we'll do is we'll replace the number of 3 with another function of length. So if we just type in len and open our brackets, we can now use that and go over to our hats word in column B. So obviously our cell reference is B2, and then we must remember obviously to close brackets for that function at all as well. So what we now have is actually two functions nested within the mid function. So what mid is going to do is it's going to look at the text in A2. It's then going to use the function of find to find out where our desired text, the position our desired text starts from. And what it's also going to do is for the length of the number of characters to extract, it's also then going to reference our extract word of hats, identify how many characters are in that word, and then obviously determine how many to extract. So when we now do enter, you can see it's now extracted the word hats. And to give an example of that, what we can do is if we now change this word to just hat again, obviously it's only now 3 words, our formula update, so it's only going to extract hat. If we wanted to change it, and this time we wanted to use the word red, and hit enter, you can see it's now updating there as well. So if we pull that for all those, you can see they all update. We've got the extract word of red, we've got the start position is updated, and it's also looked to see what the duration or the length of that word is as well. So that's worked perfectly. So the main use for this again is as we have varying texts. This text in column A could be a comments column. It could be any notes or anything that's a string. And the reason we want to use this formula or combine them together is to find out if a particular word was appearing in that string. It could be a status to say complete, or it could be any reference to any number of things that we'd want to measure. And the benefit of this, it then helps us identify if that word is indeed present within that cell or in that string. Another way we can combine this is we then might want to bring in an if statement to then say, okay, well, we can see if is there, so therefore do this, else do something else. And there's many ways we can build upon this, what we will do in future videos. But we hope that was really helpful to you. Again, if you haven't used that before, give it a try. I'm sure there's many uses you'll find for it once you get used to how combining those functions together can work and give a great result. So if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that notifications bell to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos, as we have still lots more to come. Thank you very much once more, and we'll see you again in the next video. Thanks.